Yes, you're most welcome to this video. My name is Mobilo Lawrence, and I want to continue with the series of these videos, Introduction to Web Designing using HTML, CSS and WordPress. So today I want to introduce something that is a little more interesting, images, or what we call web images, or images on websites, or HTML images, whatever you may call them. However, the most important thing is images. You have seen quite a number of websites that have images displayed in different ways. So today I want to give you the basics of this kind of images so that you can maybe at one point also embed them into your kind of websites. This is what I want us to understand. How do you write the image tag to start with? Because we learned that each and every other element that we want to put on our website has a tag, and the tag is the one that calls it into our code. Now, how do we call images into our code? It is using the img kind of tag, and the img tag falls under a group of tags that we don't need to close. That is why even Visual Studio Code doesn't even put a closing tag for img, because we don't actually need to close, but rather we just put img for image. Now, one thing you should note, we put attributes, very many of them. We can put a number of attributes in the img. However, one thing I advise is that whenever you want to maybe put an image, try so much to have that image located in the same folder where your web page file is, or where HTML file is. I'll explain why, and I'll explain a different scenario. Now, the first attribute you're going to start with is the image src. You're like that. src stands for source, image source. This is what happens when you display, maybe when you try to display your website, or when your web page is loading. It is the browser that goes ahead to look for all the elements or any external kind of media that has to be put on your web page. So it has to locate where the image is, and it displays it on your web page. Now, this src attribute will help it to locate that image. And that is why at first I said you try so much to keep this image in the same folder with your other web files, such that you don't disturb it. You don't disturb so much the web browser. That is why it may take some time to load your image if it is quite very far, or if it is very heavy. Now, for example, me in my folder, this test folder, I have some images. I have laptop here. Okay, let me use this laptop kind of image. I'll use laptop, so I'll come here and say src laptop. Yeah, jpg my kind of my Visual Studio Code will automatically complete. So if I come here and I try to refresh, my image is displayed. Yeah, that is what I have. Now, you can also put here, one thing I've not mentioned, you need to so much understand the file extension. Sometimes theoretically we say file extension is the suffix that appears in front of the file name after a period specifying the file name and the application program that may have created it. Now, this is what we have here. When I look at laptop, I need to come here, and sometimes I can just point at it. It will display for me some kind of menu, and it will show me item type. It is JPG. However, you can right click on it and choose properties. From the options, you'll have JPG file or .jpg as the file extension. Whenever you're writing these names or the image names in the browser, you're supposed to put also the file extension. Say laptop.jpg, laptop.png, laptop.gif, etc. So that is why it is displayed. But if it so happens that now you come and use a different name that is not exactly the same name as of your image, what will happen if you refresh? It will simply display for you some icon here that will show that now we have an image here, but then I can't display it because of some reasons or the other. And now that one gives rise to the other attribute that we call alt. The alt attribute allows us to put alternative text that we want our websites to display in case they can't display our images. So I can come and say oops. Okay, oops. the browser, okay, yeah, the browser cannot display this image. Yeah, suppose I have that. Oops, the browser cannot display that image. Let me try to refresh. You see, instead of now it will display this, but it will put some alternative text that oops, the browser cannot display this image. So this alternative text will only work, or the alt kind of attribute will only work if your browser, or if you have used a wrong name, or if the browser cannot find the kind of image that you're talking about. But if you correct the file name, then you come back and refresh here, it will automatically display the image instead of the alternative text. Now our image is so big, it is so big. How do I try to maybe specify the dimensions of the image? Usually when we are looking at HTML, or when I was introducing you, I told you that there are some ways of introducing CSS into our kind of website, but we shall discuss the details. However, I advise you use the style attribute, yeah, style, and then inside here you can come and say width. You put the width full colon, you say maybe let it be maybe 50%. Maybe sometimes I like using, okay, I've used 60%. Sometimes I like using percentages for responsiveness issues. Yeah, sometimes I like responsiveness issues. Then I come here and say height also. Height, yeah, height. Okay, height, I put that. Then I also say make it 50%. Okay, yeah, or I can say make the height auto. Yeah, auto is also there. So I come and save. Yeah, let me try to see this. When I try to refresh, you see my image has now reduced a bit in size, because now if I take back my page to 100%, this is how it will look like. It will be a 60% kind of width, and then it will just be an automatic kind of height. That is simply how I do it. Just put the style attribute, put your width here and the height there. However, some other people can simply choose not to use this attribute here. Some people choose not to use this attribute and rather use the width itself as, okay, let me try to remove the whole thing here. They rather choose to use width as an attribute. So that someone says width as an attribute and says 60%, and then you come and use height as an attribute also, and then they say auto. Of course this one will also work. It will still work, because if it wasn't working here, then this one wouldn't have appeared the same way it appears. Or let me try to make it maybe 80%, such that people can note the difference. So I can come and say 80%. You see how it has become a little bigger. Yeah, but still, me, I usually advise use the other first option of having our style. Come and say style like that. Then we put our width. Because now this one allows us to use as many things as we want. We can come and add even the float and whatever, or align, etc. You can add all these ones here. I advise you use the style. However, even the other option can work. So simply that is how we look at maybe our images. We don't have a lot of things to cover about images. However, one thing you should note is the src and whatever. Now one last bit of images that I need to talk about. How about if it so happens that my image is not in the same folder? How do I represent that? For example, test is the folder that has my documents, but I want to use this maybe one image called webcam, and this image is and maybe this image is in maybe what you call okay, it is in the downloads. So what do? I can simply come, the best option to do is to simply come and copy its file path. You simply copy its path. Okay, some people prefer copying it from here. You simply come and copy its path. Now it is the webcam, it is a JPG file. So instead of doing this here, you come and say in the source, if it is not in the same folder as your other text. If it's not the same folder with the other images or with the other files of the web, what you do, you start with pasting its file path. Then of course, you know the forward slash is the one that we use so much. Is that forward slash, you put the name webcam.jpg. so it will let us try to refresh here. Okay, so it will be displayed here, my webcam. Now how about if I had not put this? You see, if I don't put this and I simply represent it with webcam and I refresh, but remember the webcam is not in the same folder as my web files. If I just refresh, it will say, oops, your browser cannot display the image. So that is basically what we have. If it is not in the same folder with your other files, please try so much to start with representing the file path. However, why should you go all this extra mile of looking for file paths and whatever, when you can just copy the other image and put it in your folder? So that is basically what you have about images, HTML images. That is the basic knowledge that I can give you about this. Please subscribe, follow, like and comment. Feel free to ask any questions, share with your friends, and if any questions arise from these and you feel I may need to answer them, just go into the comment section. Please post your question there and I'll be glad to respond to you. Thank you so much. May you stay blessed.